Hello, my friends, welcome. Let's see what the story of a divorce in the news can teach us about our marriages, our divorces, and the strange situation that may happen in a family that may make us think about divorce. A couple of weeks ago, a famous YouTube personality announced his divorce on his show, which is already questionable, in front of millions of his followers. Since then, he faced a severe backlash because virtually everybody on YouTube started accusing him of being a bad guy, the bad guy, an abuser, a monster, especially in light of a video which leaked which shows him treating his then wife not very politely. Some of you may have understood I'm speaking about Steven Crowder. Who's Steven Crowder? We'll get to that for those of you that don't know him. But he's an abuser, he's a monster, or did he just have a bad day, or just be a victim of a situation, or just he may be a victim of a wrong or misplaced principle. Let's watch the video and the announcement and let's see what it is
I have
about.
been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now.
Interesting
Since
choice of
2021,
words.
I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there's no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no,
Okay, no physical abuse. Remember what he said now.
this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted.
Yeah, I understand why they refer to their states. I mean, because in in the US, every states have a different rule. But I mean, in this case, probably it's not even necessary because virtually almost all states and territory in America, they provide this so-called no-fault divorce, where one person can decide on the basis of very minimal situation. Just they need to declare that they don't get along anymore. They can decide to have a divorce. So it's not the state of Texas, but most everywhere. Just one person can decide to terminate the divorce.
It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed.
So let me clarify something here. I agree that divorce may be one of the most stressful situation in a person's life, but it must not be considered a shameful event or a failure, because it doesn't tell anything about you. Sometimes divorce is something that we need to do. It's a hard decision, and probably it's the good decision for you, because not because the marriage is bad, not because we did something wrong, they did something wrong, this is the reason, but sometimes it's just because we are not compatible and we don't want to hold everybody back, or ourselves back, or our children back. So we want to improve our life. It is not working in a marriage, and so it's a choice that sometime needs to be made. So this is whether they serve the paper on you or you decide to divorce is not a failure. It's just something that need to be changed in life. And even when we consider, and I do, that a marriage should be a lifelong commitment, it doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes it's just not possible. So we need to be realistic on this marriage commitment situation.
I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
So, ideally, marriage should be a lifelong commitment. Children need a mom and dad. But also, this is also a misconception, because divorce doesn't mean that children will not live or will not have their mom and their dads in their life. So divorce is the dissolution of a marriage, not of a parenthood.
Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon.
Yeah, so I agree. This is kind of private situation. But so why you are even announcing in a millions of viewers show?
Now, in all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless, completely without fault, And so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests,
Children,
both
why
emotionally
children
and
are
physically.
involved?
To do
No, children cause us to divorce. I know that there are some parents that blame children about that. This is very abusive situation against children, but I hope that this is a rare occasion.
so. Now, the other issue is, and this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long, many other people knew about this behind the scenes. Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage, knew of this. They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well. Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised.
So I don't know why he's bringing this extortion. Again, coming back, divorce is not a failure, it's not shameful, so nobody should blackmail you, should be able to blackmail you. They want to try to do it, but cannot extort you on the information that you're going to divorce. So
my children have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in
I agree. It's
harm's
not
way.
embarrassing.
So it's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children.
So
And
he's
she wanted something
declaring
else
in
for her
public, it's a little bit virtue signaling to me, that he still loves, and remember what he said, he loves his mother, and so why you need to put a qualification after it? Love his wife with a qualification as mother of their children. No, because he loves her, he loved her, okay, yeah, this is what we feel as people who went through divorce. We loved our spouse once, and then we realized that something changed. We still love them, but just we cannot live together, or we don't love them anymore because things changed. But he also want to clarify that he still loves her as mother of their children. So why? Remember this, because this will become. We'll discuss this.
That's later. Not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly not the fault of my children.
So I picked wrong. So what, you say, I love her, mother of my children, but I picked wrong. What are you trying to imply here? So this is a little bit bad choice of word, because sometimes I agree, things need to be, say your story, but things need to be kept private. And it's not really true, because you are free to express your situation, even because you want to teach, to share some information that might be useful for other people to their decision. But I picked wrong. What does it even mean? It's like it's marriage is a shopping. You find somebody and then you realize, your car is not as good or as reliable as you thought you'd be. Probably you like the body of the car and you didn't like the engine, and you realize after driving for 100,000 miles, what does it mean? I picked wrong. Let's see if there is something major on his situation, but one of the points that he's doing wrong is how he applies his life principle that he also mentioned as a Christian and conservative guy. Let's see why this even...
And I will say that what's in the best interest of my children is not internet drama, speculation, certainly not blatant or veiled shakedowns or dragging their father or mother, and I can't be clear on that enough, or their mother through the mud. And to anyone who tries it, I'm no longer going to pacify, capitulate, or sidestep, because I love them a whole lot more than I love you. And I will continue to do whatever is necessary to protect my children. Discussing a divorce any further on social media or on this show or in any public space.
Anyway, before we forget, drag people on the mud. This is unfortunate. He is right here because this is something that happens more often than not, that for some reason people drag their spouses or their family through the mud. I, to this day, still don't know why, except in few situations where I know that there is mental illness that cause this. But divorce, as he mentioned since the beginning, we clarify, is today's in most modern jurisdiction is a one-person choice. If one person have the courage to admit that things are not working, they just pull the plug, and this is legal. Sometimes people, abuse this concept, so just they get tired and they pull the plug, because you cannot go questioning what people are doing wrong. So you cannot limit people that have some hardship that they don't want to live together to those that just exploit the system. But yeah, so in spite that you can just end the marriages, people still drag each other in the mud after divorce or during divorce, and don't do this, and don't fall into don't feel in forced to defend yourself when this stuff happen, because it's a waste of time. Okay, this is part of the story. He felt that he want to make this announcement, this declaration, and I understand. People are free to show what they're going through, even to be more relatable, because they love their audience and they want them to show why they do things and why they don't do things. It's legal. Why it's relevant to me to discuss about this particular divorce? Because there are many divorces, nasty and less nasty divorces that may teach us something. Why this teach us what I want this story teach us about conservative situation or general news from a conservative perspective. So conservative in his case means that he promotes traditional values, according to him, like the family, marriage, traditional family, traditional marriage, like no divorce, like he's pro-life, and also he has, this from his desk, he has a gun on display on his desk. He's a pro Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So this, according to him, is traditional value, and especially in the United States, to his extent. And so he's famous for his show that is called Louder with Crowder, where he do this kind of news comments, and also for his kind of show, his initiative that it's called Change My Mind, where he again he claim one of his values, his traditional values especially, and go in public and interviews people that thinks otherwise, and try to give them the opportunity to convince him otherwise based on data and facts. So you may agree or not agree with this guy, with the Steven Crowder, but one thing to his credit, that he provides a lot of data, a lot of sources which are verifiable. Because even myself, I don't like the guy as a person too much. Not in a nasty way, because it looks like he's a little bit kind to make fun a little bit of people that does things the way he does. And also he's, speak fast, making sure that he's always right on everything. He's the smartest guy, so the kind of I know it all kind of thing. And also the way he cut off people who he interviews. Sometimes my blood boils sometimes, but another time, overall he give opportunity to other people to talk. He gives information that you may agree or not agree, but he say, okay, I give you this information, I think this way, but also I give the data, and you make out of the data what you want. And in this day and age, news, conventional news don't do that. They really, sometimes they're very biased, while this guy at least is a way to get in an easy way the numbers that you may need to take your opinion. So that's the thing that I give credit to. So it's not it's a little bit disagreeable kind of guy to my extent. I really simple, so I don't like people that want to overshadow you. So the bottom line is that because he promoted Christianity, promoted long life marriage, and both parents, in a household, now he feels, okay, I'm promoting this stuff, commitment in marriage for 10 years, and now I'm the one that I failed the marriage. Yeah, that's a little bit something that happens when you are a little bit close-minded on some. And again, I'm also a big proponent for a long-term marriage, but sometimes we need to understand that this stuff don't work as well. This makes us also gives us the need to work even harder to keep this principle, but not to deny that don't need to be in denials that things can not work out at the end. So, what do you think so far? For sure, after we tell the whole story, I want to know your opinion, but based on what have you seen and heard so far, what do you think? Leave a comment of your opinion, your initial understanding. Is it okay? It is appropriate to disclose a divorce on a very successful show? What do you think about the extortion stuff? What do you think of the guy? Does it feel to you trustworthy or sincere? But let's go ahead and let's watch the video that apparently frames him and nails him as a bad guy. Let's see why people think that is very abusive. But before I play, I want to warn you that the video that I'm going to show is a little bit disappointing, if not disturbing for some of you. It was a little bit hard to watch for me too, because, I mean, nothing extreme, but it leaves a little bit of bitter taste after watching it. So, let's go.
I drew a boundary. I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking...
So, this guy, Steven, is preventing his wife to take the car. We don't know yet on which basis, but I mean, this is already a little bit controversial that you decide if people in your family can go out or not, and how.
That's because if
You refuse to do wifely things.
things, then I will go pick up the groceries. There's no groceries.
So what are the wifely things? Like housewife things or other kind of stuff in the house? I mean, this looks like chores. She's talking about chores. And also we need to frame it. It's not very clear right now, but I mean, the lady is pregnant of twins, is 8 months pregnant, and they're arguing about, the argument starts off taking a car, taking a car. He's complaining about her duties in the house, apparently. Let's see how the thing develop.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's not unreasonable.
So, he's just that just the fact that you want to use wood pellets instead of charcoal for your steak, this already disqualifies you. I'm kidding here. I'm just trying to relieve a little bit the tension of this video. But yeah, let's keep going.
Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes, how do you man? How do you man? You see love of that.
Okay, so respect. They're discussing about respect.
No, you're not
This is coming back again.
Stephen,
You're not taking a car.
Stephen,
You are not
then I
taking
will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Is that a threat? So he doesn't want her to take the car. And then she proposed something else. He said, why a threat? Why you are getting the
No
defensive?
threat, Stephen.
Give it an Uber.
Okay, Stephen, I can't.
So she's not taking a car. I mean, he doesn't want her to take a car. It's because, I mean, he want to be protective about her condition of pregnant. And then car is not good, Uber is good. So it's a little bit complicated. Why doesn't he take a Uber to do the stuff he needs to do? And another thing that we need to clarify, was during COVID. So going out for groceries could have been complicated because of social distance, and because you want to protect a pregnant woman from the COVID flu.
Feeling some constraints?
Stephen,
Like, I can't
Stephen,
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've been.
You're gonna take the car and leave me here, and I need to do that. So he's talking about grocery, mom, gym, friends. So he doesn't need to do all these things, because I mean, you have he's just making an example, or staying at home. So it's like she going out is a limitation for him, or is a constraint for him, which is complicated. I mean, he's a successful guy. I don't think that they have only one car. Say that they have one car because the other car, I don't know, it's repair, or they just, because they traditional, they want to save money, so they have one car. Why can't he have another solution? She can have somebody pick her up, or he can have somebody, here, but you know, he can take a ride, a taxi, a Uber, do some way. But why they're even arguing at this petty thing here, this point?
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
So, as a pregnant woman, she's also offering, okay, you need something material that I need to bring it, that you need to procure. I'll procure for you because, I mean, I'm doing whatever a woman want to do it in a nice morning in Texas.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
So, okay, now you are throwing a tantrum. You say that you need the car for something. She's offering to, you know, a workaround to that, and say no, it doesn't work. So, what's your idea now?
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going to be back when I'm back?
Steven,
The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
we are at an impasse.
Good.
Discipline and respect. Okay, now we are throwing here words. Discipline and respect, what does mean? I'm sure that they will have discussed this about again and again, because also I see her using words that mean look like not just out of blue, but you know, words they've reflected about, but discipline and respect. So, I mean, this is two adults. It's not like that you need to, or it's not a military camp that you need to have a specific amount of respect. You just need to be decent people, first of all, for cohabitation, and you need to have love and mutual understanding. So, is she disrespecting? So, in this context, respect is not like you have to give, you know, the military salute or some, some kind of a pose that you need to have in front of other people. Just you respect in a family. Just make sure that you don't disrespect other people. And you know, doing your morning stuff inside the house, outside the house, using the assets, the cars that you have, is not lack of respect in the first place. And discipline, what does it mean? Do we have roles? I think this is, I mean, the house looks well maintained, so it doesn't look like, I mean, she throws wrapping, garbage on the floor, or the house is not well taken care. So discipline, what about? It's not a children that they have, time to get home, or it's a little bit childish talking in general about, in a generally speaking way of discipline and respect between spouses. You need to be a little bit more precise what's wrong.
Yeah, there you go. You throw your hand. You give up so easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
You give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is
So she's complaining, again, probably they already discussed about it. Your abuse is sick. She is calling out something, I believe, I don't know what she's referring to, but I mean, bringing it up, what we see here, his controlling behavior is abusive. So probably many of you may not know here, that's why I'm showing you this. Being so controlling to your spouse, wife or husband, is abusive. Now, it's illegal? Probably not. It's done sporadically. Could be just a misunderstanding, but it is emotionally abusive, or is a kind of limitation of the freedom of a person.
sick.
Watch it.
Watch it. He snaps.
I'm gonna go. I'll get what you need to get. And I need some space. We need to just talk about
So, and she calls
okay?
down
I
and
love you.
tries to de-escalate the
I
situation.
love you very much.
I don't love you.
I don't know. So she's saying, I love you, I want to make it work, we don't need to believe everything that women says and spouses says. But, I mean, she's trying to use the right words to de-escalate it, to try to come to an agreement. But she just needs a car. It's not like she's demanding whatever. And he responds, I don't love you. And you remember at the beginning of the video, he said, I loved her when I met her, and I love her as the mother of my kids. And so now he's proving, lying on his statement, because 2 years before, this is set in 2021, and the video was 2 weeks ago, the announcement. So he, you say too. And I understand that you may be spending a bad day. Is it the right moment? 8 months pregnant, twins, say I don't love you. I know that you want to prove your point or you want to put your point, but you should not cross some boundaries with this particular. I mean, I would say never, but especially if you have a big problem during your marriage, it's not the right time to bring this up at when you are 8 months pregnant, if it's just a problem of cars. And second rule, I mean, try not to say, try not to say something that you don't mean, that you could regret later.
Big problem. I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you should be disciplined about it. You go, no, but I love you more than life itself. Okay, put on some gloves. No.
So he's saying, I mean, he wants something done in the car. So gloves. Somebody thought that put on some gloves. Somebody thought, what do you want to put? Boxing gloves? No, their thing is something of the dog. So like helping with the dog. So
But I love you more than life
of
itself.
course,
It's not fair. It's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. Right in the past. Become someone
become someone.
day in and day out worthy of a wife worthy. You
Again,
know, not
wife worthy. Become someone wife worthy. Is there a role that you need to, or a box you need to fit in wife to be a wife? And what does it mean wife in the 21st century? Housewife or intimacy behavior, or what? What if she's has a job and so her contribution to wife is financially or just with the dignity of the job or whatever? So what does it mean? What are we talking about? Something in the house, it's something in the house. So both people need to agree. Other stuff, wifey, what does it mean? Like compliment you? We don't know this. And this is why I say that this is a kind of a terminology that is based on some, cliche kind of a marriage, and we'll talk about that soon.
life. I didn't say the word. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage anymore. I'm gonna go. I'll get text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
He's smoking the cigar in front of a pregnant woman. So, okay, Steve, to all of you, if you want an example of a clumsy, let's say this is an argument, one-time argument that went wrong. If you want an example of a clumsy argument, this is it. I don't love you, smoking in front of a pregnant woman. So you want to tell what people need to do, and something that, again, in the 2023, it's recognized. Don't smoke around people, especially. This is just.
I love you. I'm committed to you.
Are you committed to those things?
I'm not trying to be
So I'm committed to you,
You're not committed to anything.
but you're not committed to do work in
You
the
just
house.
said I love you. I'm committed to you.
Walk the dog. So again, can you go walk the dog? So there is something that we need to say, but I don't know how important it is. So he also had heart surgery not long after this conversation. Somebody says it's an elective surgery, so I don't know. Does he have an issue with walking the dog in the heat? I don't know. We don't know this yet. But even so, again, you're a successful field. You have a 8-month pregnant woman. You have a health issue, allegedly. It does seem that you have a health issue and you smoke the cigar. I'm not expert of cigar, but I don't think that it's good to smoke a cigar when you have heart issues. And you don't want to walk the dog, and you want your pregnant woman to walk the dog, put some gloves on, because okay, she probably say, I cannot walk the dog because I can get in contact with, and this is true. I mean, when we had children, it was advised to my children's mother not to have contact with pets' feces in general, and pets in general, because they can pass you some parasites. And also even gardening, they discourage for pregnant women or women that are about to or have the intention to get pregnant, to have children, to even do gardening, because you can be exposed to birds and other kind of animals residues around the garden. So yeah, okay, she probably has said, I cannot walk the dog and collect the poop. And he said, okay, put the gloves on, and we should solve the situation. Okay, what if I touch my eye with a... Okay, 8 month, you don't want 8 month, 8 month pregnant woman walking in the sunlight in the heat of Texas, lovely Texas, in this condition. If it doesn't feel like that.
Are you committed?
And she grabs the leash too. she's doing her.
Are you committed enough to get the medication you're going to take that?
Yeah, and then she gives it. Okay, then we have some disclaimer here, but I mean, we don't take care of this disclaimer because we don't see in video, we don't know if they're truthful or not. I mean, we need to prove that in a court of law if we want to. But so, this is what you said. You said the most, I mean, I wouldn't say the most clumsy, but it still is not like super violent kind of argument. I agree. It is a little bit aggressive and passive aggressive. No, I mean, it's not passive aggressive. It's aggressive verbally with word. I mean, not yelling, not pushing, not overreacting. It's just, I mean, the attitude is aggressive. Does it make it right? No. Does it make dramatic? We'll see. I mean, I want to know your opinion. I don't think it's dramatic, but it is very clumsy to get in an argument like this. So, you know, they could have made it up 30 minutes later or the day after he takes some, instead of coffee and cigar, some chamomile or some herbal tea that make it calm down. She also, you know, she was positive, at least in this video, she appears to be. What do I think is going on here? I don't think it's malice, don't quote me, and this is not to justify everything. I think that Steven is manifesting some fake alpha male attitude. How I can tell it, but from his language, you know, wifey things, be a wife, be worthy, and respect, discipline, this kind of stuff that you don't say to another adult, as I said. And this is the kind of stuff that they teach sometimes in some training of masculinity, of how to be successful with women, and specifically also alpha male kind of training. But the issue why it is fake, because you don't say this thing when you put this in practice. You just inspire discipline, you inspire respect. How? By be confident of yourself, by be provider, by providing trust, by being trustworthy. When you are all these things, you know, being trustworthy, be providing, and being confident at the same time, people will pay you respect because it comes natural, because they really admire you and feel safe with you. That's how respect and discipline, and they give back by doing their stuff like we can tell housework, on financial contribution, or helping you with holding the door, you know, being just cuddling and being romantic. It comes natural. You inspire these things. You don't need to call them out in public. They tell you you need to be, you know, you need to inspire and require discipline and respect from your wife, but you don't have to teach them how to do it. That's what's wrong. Why do I think that he needs to do this, or he felt the need to do this? I think that there is some wrong application of some, even, you know, let's say in principle good principle, misplaced good principle put in practice. Such as, I mean, he's declared that he's a conservative, and I don't want to use the word conservative because I don't want to give to this a political connotation. It's the traditional way of life, and also the Christian way of life, that is not the Christian is bad or traditional is bad per se. It's just that you need to apply to the 21st century. I mean, it's not good to be verbally abusive to another person at all, or to treat them like children. Because you cannot put roles to wife and husband in general. You need to see what the husband and the wife put them together, the contribution, because it doesn't need to be housework or you know, dogs walking work or financial, because the wife can bring financial and the husband can bring some house you know, handman work, or nothing on this because you want to prefer to hire house help. What all these traditional roles imply, and they are misunderstood, I would say, that the men need to lead, not to be a leader, but to lead the couple. It's like a dance, you know, like a couple dance, and the woman need to submit to the husband. This does mean that this need to be applied every day. This is an outdated concept, because I mean, and it comes for, you know, tradition there was a need for this in the past, but not anymore. And if there is a need for this in the past, it doesn't mean that you need to be controlling on another person to enforce it. Now, it does make sense. It depends on the kind of family that you have. If you have a wife that likes to be at home and to get direction of what the husband like, then it's okay. But if most of the educated people, wife works and bring money in the family and help financially, and the man help financially, then it's not that you need to have strict roles and chores that everybody needs to do on a specific date. You can delegate this stuff to a housekeeper. You can hire a housekeeper, you can hire a dog sitter, babysitter. If you don't want to do this stuff, it's not that doing different things is less wife, or lead less is let husband, or give more advice is less wifey as well. So this is really very badly kind of traditionalism put in place, because you can be traditional, you can pursue and sponsor and promote a long-lasting relationship, and be pro-life and be against divorce and stuff like that, and still be modern in this stuff. And I want to give an example. This might have worked in the past, but it doesn't define the traditionalism of it, or the Christianity of it. In fact, I give the example, my country where I come from, in the 40s, in the 50s, and before, of course, in the 30s, there is a reason why the man needed to lead a family, to some extent, to defend the family, literally, physically. And also because before, in my country, it was so poor that they didn't have the money to give education to people. And by education, I don't mean school. Even school education in the 30s, in the 50s, in my country, could mean third grade. It was a big achievement, third grade, let alone middle school. It's because, there is not much money, and so family needed to prioritize education for one person, or for the man in the family, and the woman could stay at home. But also education might mean also apprenticeship, learning a trade from another handyman or professional. That could be also education in that time. And men went out to go like manual job, and women, it's less safe to be in a place where male dominated, because could have been taken advantage of. That's why, to protect women, you put home, and women accepted that because it was harder to do this kind of job. It's not like now it mean not to send women to college, because there was no such a thing in college in 99% of population in the country I come from in the 50s. Now things have changed. Women have a more intellectual job, and then where the thing gets even. And this does not mean that my grandmothers were always at home. They did work. They worked in the farm, in the commerce at that time. Of course, they didn't work in the mining chalk, concrete, other stuff, construction material, but they did work. So it's not say that I like to go back in the 50s where women they work. Women always work in my country. Sometimes housework, but most of the time housework and raising children. And when children become 6, 7, they help in the house or go out to work, and their mother helped them to send them to work and work themselves. And even industry work, where possible, that many women were employed in building telephones in the 60s and the 70s. So women always work. It's not that being traditional doesn't mean that women need to follow the direction of a man or leading on a man. Yeah, this is very clumsy, things that you don't want to say in general. I don't love you if you want to keep the marriage and you say that you are traditional, married, Christian, and you want to work toward your own, and she's just wanting to take a car. And you don't bring up respect, discipline to another adult unless there is, the insults, name calling and other kind of stuff like this. That can happen. In this case, again, and and pushing your wife, throwing a tantrum and push your wife to do some job that really is not, in her conditions, not the right way, and smoking in front of a pregnant woman. He made it all wrong in this video, without other than getting verbally violent or physically violent. So this is the first advice: don't argue in a clumsy way. If you're not having a good day, don't get in the discussion that The other way, don't be controlling. Don't say, don't take the car. Don't try to, when you need a car and you don't want the other person to, don't use it as, a retaliation or like a discipline mean with another adult. This is not key. I understand with your 16-year-old you want to do that, 17-year-olds, even 19-year-olds that live in the house and doesn't pay the bill. Probably you may want to do that. Good luck with that, but not with another adult. You don't demand respect by controlling their other stuff. If you need a car for real, try to work around. So you take an Uber, she takes an Uber, you declare, okay, for this time you don't take the car, but then we'll buy another car or we'll rent a car if the other car is repair, or we'll loan a car. Don't give extreme expression of your frustration, like saying, I don't love you, especially if you don't mean it, to a pregnant woman or any person in a vulnerable state, like pregnant woman or somebody that just had an injury or an accident. Keep it for yourself for 2 weeks, 1 month, and then you quietly address that after. And what else? So, what's the point? We want to see if this can teach us something. But first of all, what do you think? Leave a comment below. He's a bad guy. He's abusive. Do you see where the abuse here is? And are you in a similar situation where your spouse is treating you in this way? That probably you should, step back and see, hey, what's going on here? He's a bad guy, so I don't know. So it's not that I'm able to diagnose or to judge this person from. If this is the only thing that they came up with, it's not very flattering, no doubt about this. And I repeated it, I reiterate this, and I told this already. But is this a definition of bad guy? I would say no, because being bad is not just a one-time thing. If this happens every 2 years or every year to 6 months, I'm starting to be a little bit, but it's very rare that this happens. This is the first time that he snapped. Hey, we can give them a ticket, not ticket, we can give a pass for doing that. Now, being a bad guy, and above all, even above this, for some people that are easy to throw definition like narcissistic or sociopath, this kind of people, or also depression, these are patterns. So if this happens every week, around the same time, or multiple times a weeks, and especially if this is alternated with good morning, oh, you're so nice, oh, I'm loving you, that these are 2 children, I'm looking forward to be with the children together, to grow the family together, and then the next day you're doing, discipline, respect, you don't do this, you're not a good wife, you're not good at this, you're not good at that. If there is this pattern continuously, regular or even a little bit unpredictable, that's the definition of a guy, and that could be the definition of a mental illness or a personality disorder. So that's what I'm saying. So he's a little bit kind of, puffed kind of ego. Probably I could tell, yes, this happened. Personality on YouTube, on show business must be, because they need to come across confident. Do we like these kind of people? We may like them, we may not like them, but yes, is this a definition of bad guy? Probably not, because we need to see if this situation happens again and again, and with a regular pattern. So this is what I want to say. Now, again, what's the point of see this kind of divorce story online and not others that are a little bit sometimes ridiculous or extreme and not representative of common people's life? This may be something that you experience, that you do. If you do, stop doing that right away. Or if you experience this, check it with somebody, some professional. We are here for that, so you can contact me as a divorce coach, but also as a relationship and life coach. If you don't want to make it public with a comment, you can go to my website, divorceraw.info. It doesn't mean that you need to be divorced. It's just about relationship. Or send me a DM on whatever platform you are watching this video. And we can also talk together for a more deeper conversation.